welcome. It's great to be here with another Fireside Chat. Last chat I actually did poolside, so this time I'm going to do actually in my office here today. I'm David Finkelstein, co-founder and CEO of BDEX. BDEX is the first ever and largest data exchange platform in the US, offering the most comprehensive and most accurate privacy-compliant identity graph available in the US. We also use machine learning to help marketers scale using their first-party data, which we will get into a little bit today. This time I'll be talking to Marc Cestaro, VP Advanced TV in North America for InfoSum. And so excited to talk to you, Marc. Thanks so much for joining us here today. And before we dive in, could you please share an introduction as well as a little bit about InfoSum?
Thanks for having me, David. InfoSum is a data collaboration platform. It's privacy first, and we help connect disparate data sets, whether internal or external, across a variety of customers, some of which are in financial services or advanced TV, retail, healthcare, gaming, entertainment. All types of companies really trust InfoSum to deliver better experiences through our privacy safe and permission manner. So, really excited again to be here, and thanks for having me.
BDEX partnered with InfoSum. It's kind of a two-part partnership. We have two key ingredients to what we're doing with respect to identity and our identity graph and the ability to enable InfoSum partners to leverage that identity graph to connect data assets, as well as bringing our TiVo branded TV audiences into the InfoSum environment. So, I just wanted to kind of start off by having a little discussion about how that is employed into the InfoSum system and platform, and how we can talk a little bit about, I guess, how marketers and advertisers can take advantage of that.
InfoSum is unique in the sense where our customers, we don't ever touch or see your data ourselves. So we are a collaboration tool that allows our customers to have full access and full control of their data. Again, we don't touch it, we don't control it, but we allow our partners such as yourselves and our clients to work and facilitate connections and collaborations, be it queries, understanding matches, enriching match rates through our linking partners like BDEX, and also allow our clients to run queries for insights and understand things like analyses and overlap across their current customer segments, learn more about what their viewership habits are through our partnership together, kind of just get a much stronger understanding and a readout on either current customers, prospects, as well as allow for activation and attribution throughout, in this particular case in the advertising marketplace, but across other verticals as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think InfoSum plays an important role when it comes to dealing with today's data ecosystem as it relates to different types of data. You have first party, second party, third party data, and the ability to join data sets from all these disparate sources is really important. And for those out there, I think most people listening and watching this probably understand that, first party data being your own data, second party being data that you're sharing directly with one party, and third party data is typically, data that's aggregated amongst and shared amongst many parties. And so I think that it's pretty unique where, InfoSum is kind of in the middle of this ecosystem, especially in today's sort of, privacy compliant, ecosystem where everybody's trying to find a way to share data, but do it in a way that they feel safe and where the consumer will feel safe. And so it's interesting. But, one thing I think we should talk a little bit about, especially since your role is on the advanced TV side, I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about how all of that comes into play when it comes to TV.
Yeah, I think, you definitely touched on some of it. One of the ways that InfoSum is helping our clients, and clients can range from data partners, identity partners, publishers, agencies, brands direct, and more, is we help facilitate a connection at what I would argue at unprecedented speeds from anything I've ever seen in the industry. I've spent quite a bit of time in this industry and working through other opportunities and connectors and kind of moving audiences or understanding overlap across audiences. And I think we really help put our clients and our publishers and our data partners in a position where they haven't been in it before, because speed to market is certainly a challenge. In addition to that, obviously, we're a privacy first company. So the ability to keep and maintain PII within your own walls, and as InfoSum or an infrastructure layer, we don't touch it, we don't control it, we can't see it. That also helps kind of facilitate a quicker relationship with both our partners, publishers, data partners, and brands alike, because there's usually quite a bit of back and forth and a little bit of legal involved, as we all know, and we really help mitigate or minimize the challenges that come with that. And then another piece that I think really helps us differentiate ourselves in market is we focus on not only one-to-one collaboration, but one-to-many. So we allow our partners to build kind of these ecosystems or these environments where they can connect. Think a big box retailer working with multiple brands within trying to understand the viewership habits that might vary from someone that bought a TV versus a microwave versus an oven, and create more contextual targeting and more advanced segments so that they can truly talk to their desired audience in a way that didn't work prior, and then create these kind of larger, broader environments where all this collaboration can take place together, but in a really, really quick, seamless sense, again, without that need to share any PII.
Yeah, that's perfect. That makes total sense. And it's, it's why we're partnered together on this. And I think that, there's been so much talk lately of not just privacy with respect to data, but compliance and all the different, whether it be GDPR or CCPA. And now we have two other states now that have just passed their own laws around protecting consumer privacy when it comes to data. And so that plays a big role in it. And it's good to see, InfoSum being kind of in a situation, in a position where they know that brands and marketers alike can work together to stay in sort of that compliance mode without having to worry about it. But what do you think advertisers in particular need to know about dealing with not just their own first party data and making sure that it stays compliant, but all these different relationships that can happen within InfoSum, from an advertiser's perspective, because they need to know, right, that the data that they're acquiring is coming to them in a compliant manner, not just that they don't have access to, they might not have access to the PII itself, but how do they manage that relationship between the different parties, whether it be one-to-one or one-to-many, to make sure that the data is actually being collected in a compliant manner?
It's a great question, we should probably spend a little bit of time here. So there's a variety of different paths there. So I think first and foremost, we want to make sure that whatever data is being utilized is compliant and they have the proper permissions in place. And although we're not data holders ourselves, it's important that all of our partners do follow those policies and the proper opt-outs are in place. And we want to make sure that that's available from both the data owner side as well as our clients, and everyone's in agreement there. When it comes to working, across the one-to-many, like you mentioned, there's a lot for brands and publishers and agencies, from that side of the fence to focus on. And in today's world, it's all, there's a lot of different ways to get from A to Z, but there's a ton of noise in the middle. And there's a lot of different conversations, a lot of different partnerships that kind of take place to get there, a lot of different understandings of how you're matching and what different data sets do this and who does what and how do we get there. What we really help with here at InfoSum, and as you know, is we help kind of bridge that gap. We are agnostic when it comes to identities, we're agnostic to these connections, and we allow for sort of for lack of a better term, a one-stop shopper, that InfoSum bridge to connect across all different partners, be it agencies, publishers, data partners, identity partners, and we help it in a really, really quick and seamless manner. So we allow ourselves, our partners, to build out scalable solutions where they can onboard their data and collaborate with a variety of partners in again, I know I mentioned it before, but really unprecedented timing. I mean, we're talking seconds, and it's been something that has been really, really powerful and something that I think the industry sort of lacks. I know there's ways of creating some connections, some collaboration layers today for sure, but the speed in which we're able to do it and that kind of catch-all is really where we're seeing ourselves differentiate from others in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, I'm going to go off script here a little bit, because what you're talking about with respect to speed is reminds me of a conversation I had with Farabaz Zamanian at TiVo just last week when we did our fireside chat. And we were talking about some of the things that we're doing, BDEX is doing on the machine learning side, and the volume of data that we're analyzing, the TV data that we're getting from them that we're analyzing and doing the machine learning. I mean, it couldn't be done 5, 6, 7 years ago, just because the processing power was too cost prohibitive to do it today, back then. And so I'm imagine that, it's kind of the same situation you guys are in, where like if you even conceived of this, a number of years ago, it probably would have been completely cost prohibitive, but now you can spin up, devices to run processes so fast to build massive queries that all these things can be done. You can do an analysis of massive amounts of data now.
Yeah, and that's kudos to our engineers and our founder Nick and people much smarter than I. But yeah, they have developed a way to create these collaborations and kind of not only through our tools, but just the marketplace as a whole and the internet and a lot of things that are happening have allowed us to continue to push the envelope and put us both of us ourselves in a position that we're in today, which is excellent for our customers.
That's awesome. So let me talk real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it because everybody's talking about it lately, but Google. Everybody's been talking lately about Google delaying the cookie deprecation. And it's crazy because when they announced it, everybody started throwing their hands up in the air and going crazy trying to figure out new solutions. And I imagine that probably brought some new opportunities for you guys and for your client base. But at the same time, now that they've delayed it, even gone back and said, oh, well, now we're not going to do it until 2023. There's been it's been interesting. There's two different camps. I think there's the camp of people that are saying it doesn't matter, we're going to push on and we're going to make change and we're going to make, we're going to move past this reliance on cookies. And then there's the other people that are kind of breathing a sigh of relief saying, oh, okay, well, we don't have to worry about that for a while. I'm interested to hear your thought process and what you would say to advertisers or brands that are kind of in that camp of with the sigh of relief and saying to themselves, okay, well, let's not worry about this for a while. Personally, I think that it's important that we drive forward towards change, and we don't get complacent. But I have noticed that there are a lot of people that are kind of breathing that sigh of relief, and I think it's going to catch up to them. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think obviously the announcement both ways generates some buzz, and our partners and our clients that we're talking to are also aware and are preparing for future regardless of what the timing is. And I think it's really important. It's almost like an extra warning that you get, but these types of things, they're bound to happen. And I think progress is made by being adaptive and being ahead of the curve. And I always kind of give the same example is if you look at the taxi cab industry. And they waited too long, and then ride sharing came in, and look what happened. So think of it as sort of another warning to prepare and be ahead. And we're seeing really great traction there. And a lot of people, although the timing changed, it really hasn't. If anything, it's probably even enhanced demand, and it's putting more thought behind it, which again we're all in support of. So who knows what happens between now and then, but we haven't seen. Anything, drastically alter, and we are comfortable and our clients are comfortable preparing and know that this is coming. And I think that's where the future is headed anyway.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get back to kind of your forte, talk a little bit more about on the advanced TV side. There's a lot of buzz, not just around advanced and being able to make TV addressable, but also direct to consumer DTC marketing, and is a huge thing right now. And so I think that more and more people, more and more companies, I should say, are starting to market direct to consumer. And I think that Part of that is because there's a lot of tools available for brands and marketers that are improving their capability, enabling to explore new channels and grow their brands. Also, I think going direct to consumer allows brands to collect more first-party data and understand their customers a little better. And so I think that I'd like to hear from you, your thoughts around that, reasons why marketers are concentrating more on direct to consumer, advanced TV. I think that I think that some of those reasons are, because they can now have access to some more tools and their need to understand and want to understand consumers better. But I'd like to hear from you and your experience in that area, what you think.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a growing area, as it has been over the last several years. And there's a lot of data involved. There's a lot that can be learned about the customer base that way, and getting into market has been both a blessing and a curse for those folks. And I think that's one of another area that we saw for is the activation side of that and creating those partnerships and those collaborations. So when we think of a DTC customer, whether new, old, or in the middle of their, however long they've been in market for, they have robust amounts of data, but they can't always understand or have a granular level of knowledge about their customer base. I might know that they're a customer, I might know that they're a prospect, but I might not know much else behind that. And when we work with our partners, such as yourselves, they're able to utilize their customer base, understand their viewership habits of both their current customers, their prospects, and make more smarter and informed decisions. And being DTC, they do sit on more robust amounts of data than some of the other industries that we've seen. But I think that puts them in the position that they're in today to be so successful and to be able to reach those customers in a way that was sort of an afterthought or a wish, just 5, 6, 10 years ago. So we expect that to grow, and I think there's a lot of benefits to it, but there's also some challenges that I think BDEX and InfoSum and many others are helping as that business scales.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also the ability to leverage, and I'm gonna plug us a little bit more, an identity graph such as ours through a platform such as yours, in a privacy compliant manner, enables them to say, okay, well, I have all these consumers that I within my first party data set, right? So consumers that I've reached, that I understand and I know who they are, but the identity graph gives them additional ways to reach out to those same consumers and know how to reach them across all marketing channels. And so I think that that's important too, and their ability to do that in a privacy compliant manner, so that consumers don't need to worry about how their data is being used. I
think just to jump in there, I think exactly what you said, right? They sit on a lot of data, but there's while they might have some direct integrations or opportunities, that's great, but there's also quite often, more often than not, as a necessity to leverage an identity partner such as yourselves to enrich that data and create stronger match rates and understand more about the different keys and aspects in which they're connecting, and to kind of help not only create higher match rates, but to scale their opportunity across partners, data partners, publishers, and so on and so forth. So our partnership, again, to do a shameless plug like you just did, is really helpful in that, and I think that's another area where it's been quite beneficial, and we expect that to continue.
Yeah, and I'll mention one other thing. As we're talking direct to consumer, a lot of advertisers, a lot of brands are wondering, okay, well, when they're marketing direct to consumer and they're collecting first party data, they then have a challenge, right, to figure out who else to be marketing to. And so there's always been the sort of traditional audience groups that they can go to, and there's always been this large volume of audience data out there that they can choose from. But one of the things that we see moving forward is the ability for brands to leverage their first party data a little more on the machine learning side, so that they can essentially work with companies like BDEX that can build an audience for them that is based on their first party data, so that rather than sort of using something off the shelf where, this is the same data set that everybody else is using, and maybe doesn't necessarily have the same level of performance. You're talking about third-party data, you don't know where it came from, you don't know how much of that data is actually good data. There's a lot of bad data out there, linked to bots and click fraud and all this other stuff. And so the ability for us to then say, okay, well, let's take your first-party data, we match against that within the InfoSum platform, and then we're able to take those consumer, the data sets about those consumers, and essentially build through machine learning this custom audience that we can then distribute for them, anywhere in the ecosystem, is super powerful. And it's we see it as, just a whole new way for direct to consumer brands to be able to market to audiences that they've never been able to reach before.
I think, I completely agree. It gives them more power to drive the outcomes or the KPIs that they're seeking, and then through us and through our partnership in a privacy safe manner where they can protect their customers, but also make smarter, more informed decision off of first party data. So it's certainly a win-win, and somewhere where we think a lot of brands, especially the DTC folks and the ones that sit on a lot of data, stand to gain quite an advantage.
Absolutely. So here's your chance. We're just about out of time, but here's your chance to give one piece of advice that you would give to any advertiser or brand that is looking to expand what they're doing in the marketplace today and improve performance.
Well, first would be, let's talk. I think InfoSum really helps throughout the marketplace. And again, living and breathing, advanced TV for years and data market research prior, there's always a need for speed, but there was sort of an infrastructure problem behind the scenes for quite a while, and I think that's something that we really help solve for. So I think my advice is be vigilant, do your homework, but understand that scale and fragmentation isn't a real challenge. You just got to kind of look in the right places, and through our collaboration, our partnerships with folks like yourselves, we're able to kind of connect, across one-to-many. We can bridge across a variety of IDs, and I think, my advice is be open, be looking for the solutions, and stay ahead of the curve, and don't wait to react. Take your warnings that are in the marketplace and grow and adapt.
That's awesome, Marc. Thank you so much. That's a great quote. We'll put on social media. Thank you for taking the time to discuss these topics with me today. It's a privilege to be partnered with you and the team at InfoSum. I know your time's valuable, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge with us, with me, and everybody else that hopefully will be watching this. Thank you so much, Marc.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we're excited about the partnership as well, and looking forward to continuing growth.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, David.